William Wordsworth is most commonly known as England's nature poet. He was one of the major romantics of his period. Along with his friend and colleague Samuel Taylor Coleridge, William Wordsworth wrote the lyrical ballads. The lyrical ballads could be known as the manifesto of the Romantic era. It is one of the most important works of the Romantic era. In the lyrical ballads, in the preface of the lyrical ballads, Wordsworth writes about his style of poetry. He says that poetry should be about rustic events, the ordinary daily life of people. And the second point is that he wanted these ordinary events to be written in the language of common man, the language that is spoken among men, so that it is easily understandable for everyone. And he gave the whole notion of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary by use of expression and imagination, because all his poetry deals with the most ordinary things, but he presents them in an extraordinary manner. Third point is, for him, poetry, the very definition of poetry is it is the powerful overflow, spontaneous overflow of emotions which takes its origin from being recollected in tranquility. That is the spontaneous emotion that he got out of witnessing nature. Later, the poet, in his tranquility, he puts it down on paper. So there is that essence of ordinariness, but it is colored by his imagination. So today we will deal with the poem Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. I heard 1,000 blended notes while in a grove I sat reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. So here we see the poet, he sat reclined, that is, he is not even sitting, he is reclined, he is in a relaxed position, he is enjoying the beauty of nature. The word sat is the sit in Old English, an archaic form for sit, and reclined is to sit relaxed. And in that grove, he hears 1,000 blended noises. What could be these 1,000 blended noises? That it could be the chirping of birds, it could be the humming of bees, it could be the breeze, the motion of the wind. So many noises in nature. So when he says that the 1,000 notes are blended, we get the feeling of unity. Nature means unity. All the things that are happening in nature, whether it's birds chirping, whether it is the wind or the rustling of leaves, they are all in unity. They are all synchronized and they are all in accordance with each other. So it is like a huge symphony that the poet is being witness to. So, in that sweet mode, when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts. So, here there is a contradiction. Pleasant thoughts are bringing sad thoughts to his mind. This could be that when we sit in a beautiful place and we are looking out, maybe at the sea or at any natural landscape, we imagine, our mind goes back to the memories spent there. Here, the poet may be thinking of his own self as a little boy, how he would have run and played in that courtyard, the courtyard where he grew up, or a field where as a young man he might have walked through. So all those memories are bringing a mixed emotion, that is pleasant thoughts along with sad thoughts. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. So, to her fair works, nature linked her fair works to the soul of man, to the human soul that was inside me. And it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. So, the very line, what man has made of man, this is a sort of a lament. It is a very poignant line in this second stanza, because what the poet is trying to show us is that nature, everything in nature is unified. Everything is beautiful. It goes as a symphony. But what has man done to man? Man has created greed, he has created war. He does not go in accordance with all the rules of society. Man has taken the land that does not belong to him. We see that there is extinction of species. We see that human beings have spilled hatred and venom into each other. We can also take a historical context here that Wordsworth wrote in a period when the French Revolution was going on, and he has been a witness to the suppression of the poor by the rich. So everywhere all over the world at that time revolutions were coming up. The rule, there was no just fair rule in countries. So what was man doing to man? Just compare it with how nature is behaving to nature. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and it is my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. So here the poet says that he feels that every flower on this earth, the flower enjoys the air that it breathes. Only man is not thankful for the air that he breathes. Only man says, this is my air or this is my land. And primrose tufts, primroses are a yellow flower that is grown in the wild, and periwinkles are a blue violet flowers. These are also again grown in the wild, and they are seen very commonly all over in England on sidewalks and paths. So the poet says that these flowers are all, they're making the path so beautiful, and they are drawing in air itself with so much pleasure. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure. But the least motion they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. So here we can also see that there are birds in the air, they're chirping. And the poet says, unfortunately, he cannot understand their language. But he says that even their least motion, he knows, is filled with pleasure. Because if you observe a bird and you see how the wings are fluttering and it just alights on a branch, springs from one branch to another, takes flight all of a sudden, you see there is so much of beauty, natural beauty, and it is filled with pleasure, these moments. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think to all I can that there was pleasure there. So even in the branches that spread out, the twigs that seem to be catching the air, that seem to be putting out their branches to feel the wind and the breeze blow by, in that also the poet feels so much of pleasure. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? So here the omnipotence of God, the Creator, is also brought into the picture, as well as Wordsworth's own feeling. He is definitely a pantheist also. He is a pagan in the fact that he really is in love with nature. So here he says the holy plan of nature is that everyone should be in harmony with each other. Every being should be in accordance with each other. There is a rhythm, a rhyme, a music to nature which seems to be absent in man. Man is always constantly warring, constantly wanting power, constantly battling himself as well as the people around him. So again that poignant question comes up, what man has made of man? And do I not have enough cause to lament? Lament is to cry or be sad. I have reason to be sad because when I look at nature, I know that this is the plan that nature has for the world. But this is not the plan that man has been following. So here Wordsworth, by asking this question, what man has made of man, he does not need to give the reader an answer. The answer lies in the poem itself. In lines written in the Tintern Abbey, Wordsworth describes nature as his nurse, his friend, the soul of his moral being. He describes nature in every poem almost as guardian of my infancy, my moral compass. So everywhere, all over his poems, we can see such usages. So, which means that Wordsworth gave a lot of importance to nature. Man is constantly seeking happiness and contentment. And here, Wordsworth always tells us that it is towards nature that man should look to for happiness and contentment. The devices used in the poem are, there is definitely personification, that is to her fair nature. So nature, the word her is used to describe nature, which is personification. And along with the personification, something that is beautiful to see in Wordsworth's poem is we don't even think of the person who is sitting and observing. So much has he relegated himself or the poet to the background, that nature alone is working in the forefront. There is also a rhyme scheme like there is ran, man, bower, flower, played, made, measure, pleasure. Such a rhyme scheme is also there. There is alliteration in words like sweet, starting with the same sound, sad, such words. Then, so these are all the many devices used by the poet. Thank you. Lines written in early spring by William Wordsworth. I heard 1,000 blended notes while in a grove I sat reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To have fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but that least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man?